The story begins with the beautiful Queen Lu saying that her master Xiamen has committed a sin and deserves to die. The master then asks why she betrays him, why she poisoned him and limited his powers. Beautiful Lu doesn't know the answer and says that since he once loved her very much, she will give him a wonderful gift. She pulls out her sword. Shumui says that he never thought that the sword he traveled the world with to give to his beloved Luna would be used against him. As they talk, he recalls the tender moments he spent with Luna, always protecting and caring for her, almost like a father. Linda Lu says that her master has been very disappointing to her. She then stabs him with her sword. As he falls, he turns on his secret ability to go back in time and change his cruel fate. He goes back to the day he was going to adopt Linda Lu and remembers everything that happened because he adopted and trained Lu. He decides that this time he will change his fate and not repeat his mistakes. After this, one of the Supreme Master's employees appears and says that they are almost at the orphanage. The Supreme Master says that Lu is currently weak and that it's a shame that this time he won't be training someone who will become an S rank in power. We are then shown the orphanage where all the 16-year-olds are. The beautiful Lu appears in her child form, wondering why she has gone back in time. She then remembers everything that happened. Days after she executes her master, his castle is attacked. Her generals then ask Queen Lu to flee, but she refuses and says she is waiting for someone. Then the most powerful witch in the world appears in the castle and defeats the queen's generals. Lu then said that she was waiting for her. The beautiful witch Yang says that her sister Lu has always been lucky, that thanks to the Supreme Master she was adopted, lived the life of a princess and even managed to become the queen of an entire country. While she had to suffer the greatest atrocities and fight with animals for a bit of food. However, even though her sister had everything and she had nothing, her beautiful sister Lu still lost out to her. The witch Yang asks if her sister knows why she lost. The beautiful Lu says she doesn't know why. Then Witch Yang says that she lost the moment she executed the Supreme Master. The witch says that because of the power of the gods that the Supreme Master had, it was impossible for any enemy to get close to the kingdom. And Queen Lu, the witch then strikes Queen Lu, and tells her that her beautiful sister Lu lost herself after having so much power, and that the power went to her head so much that she killed her master who loved her so much, without a shred of sadness or remorse. As she lies dying, the beautiful Lu accepts her guilt and wishes she had a second chance to change her actions towards her master. She then returns to the past and realizes that her wish has come true. Now back in the past, a boy asks her if she's alright. She says she's fine. The boy then tells her to get ready, that a very rich prince is coming to the orphanage to adopt one of them. Lu then remembers that the prince the boy mentioned must be her master Zuman. She then says that thanks to her return to the past, she can now once again become Zuman's pupil and change the fate she gave her master. After this, the orphanage owner orders all the children to get ready to see the prince. In the courtyard of the orphanage, the owner finds a beautiful girl with silver hair. He orders her to leave, but the beautiful girl asks to see the prince and promises to keep quiet. She shows that she really wants to see the prince. After that, 6 children gather to see the prince. After arriving, Master Shuman sees his beloved former student Lu and tells her that in this life they will have no feelings or ties. The beautiful Lu is happy that her former master has actually shown up. The owner of the orphanage then says that these 5 children are the strongest in the orphanage and that they all have the potential to be very powerful, and that among these 5 children there is one who has the potential to be as strong as a demigod, and that child is Linda Lu. Linda Lu then looks disgustedly at her former master Zuman. The owner of the orphanage then says that if he wants to adopt Linda Lu, it will cost 10 times more than the other children. Prince Zuman then says that money is not a problem for him. After this, Shuman sees a little girl with silver hair and realizes that this little girl is the witch Yang from the future. He then asks the owner of the orphanage who the little silver-haired girl is. The orphanage owner tells him that the girl's name is Yang, and that she is the weakest child he has in the orphanage. Zumang then listens to everything and thinks about what his fate would be if he adopted the strongest witch. The beautiful Yang then gets up, hugs Prince Zumang tearfully, and asks the prince to adopt her. She says she will do whatever her master asks. The owner of the orphanage then gets angry and tries to hurt the beautiful Yang, but Prince Shumong orders him to stop. Even though she's a little bruised, the beautiful Yang asks the prince to adopt her again, which surprises the prince. He then kneels down in front of the beautiful Yang and asks her if she will do anything for him. The beautiful Yang says that if he takes her away from that orphanage, she will do whatever her master asks. In the background, the beautiful Lu sees her former master being affectionate with the witch Yang and wonders why he is being like this with her. She tells him that, according to the timeline, she should be the one adopted by Zumong. The orphanage owner then wonders why Prince Zumong chose the weakest and most useless child in the orphanage. He says that he chose the beautiful Lu by hand and that she is the best in the orphanage. The owner of the orphanage then asks if the prince doesn't want to take another child. He again says that the beautiful Lu has the potential to become a demigoddess. The prince then looks at him cruelly and asks if he's trying to tell him what the prince should or shouldn't do. The orphanage owner then gets so scared that he's on his knees shaking. After that, Linda Lu does the same thing that her sister Yandere did. She grabs Zumong and asks him to adopt her. The orphanage owner gets very angry and tries to pull her away. As he pulls her away, the prince grabs Linda Lu's arm. Linda Lu then thinks that Zumong has taken a liking to her and will adopt her too. However, Zumong throws her to the ground and makes her very afraid. Prince Zumong kneels in front of the beautiful Lu and says in his mind that for hundreds of years he has trained her and cared for her with great affection and love, but that in the end she betrayed him. He then decides that he will not make the mistake of adopting her again. He then stands up and says that he will only adopt the beautiful Yang. The beautiful Lu then lies on the floor wondering why her former master Zumong didn't want to adopt her. After that, the owner of the orphanage says that if the prince wants to take the beautiful Yang, it will cost 200 spirit rocks. Prince Shumui then says that he is having the courage to charge for beautiful Yang, since he didn't charge anything when she was beautiful Lu. The prince asks what the orphanage owner will do if he refuses to pay. The orphanage owner says that his ninjas will execute him. Prince Zumong then smiles and asks the orphanage owner if he thinks those weak ninjas can do anything against him. Zumong defeats the two ninjas, and the orphanage owner calls on all the ninjas in the orphanage to execute the prince, but the prince defeats them all effortlessly. After this, the orphanage owner becomes very afraid and asks the prince to spare his life. He then gets down on his knees and says that he will give all the treasures he has to the prince. While on his knees, he realizes that the beautiful Yang is very important to the prince and tries to hurt her. However, the prince cuts his arm off and says that no one will ever have the right to lay a finger on his beloved pupil. This makes the beautiful Yang very happy. Afterwards, Master Shumon orders his beloved Luna to execute the owner of the orphanage. He says that the way the orphanage owner treats her, he must have done something bad to her. Linda Yang then remembers her past with the orphanage owner. She remembers how he made her hungry and how he beat her a lot. After remembering everything, she feels very angry, but thinks that doing so would be wrong. Master Shumon then tells her that she shouldn't feel like she's doing something bad. He says that, after everything the orphanage owner has done, being executed is something he deserves. Linda Yang then picks up her sword from the ground and walks over to the orphanage owner. The orphanage owner then begs her to let him live. Lin says that without him, she would have been finished a long time ago. As he speaks, Lindy Andy shows that she is even angrier with him. The orphanage owner then says that he should never have let a ridiculous girl like her live in his orphanage. This makes Lindy Andy so angry that she finally executes the orphanage owner, with hatred in her eyes. Afterwards, Master Zumon stops his Luna Yang and tells her she's done a good job. Linda Yang then says that she only obeyed her master's orders. Master Zumon then says that anyone who tries to touch his beloved Luna will meet a cruel end at his hands. This makes Linda Yang very happy. Afterwards, one of the prince's servants asks what he will do with the other youngsters, now that there is no longer an orphanage. The prince then orders him to bring a large fortune to each young person, so that they can find a way to live. After this, the beautiful Lu sees her former master leaving without her, and decides that since her former master hasn't adopted her, then she will go off on her own to train to become stronger. After that, Zuman is in his carriage with his beloved Luna. He asks if the beautiful Yang is hungry. Very red, she admits that yes, she is very hungry. Master Shuman then prepares a table with lots of food and tells her that she can eat as much as she wants. Linda Yang then becomes very happy and starts to eat everything. While she is eating, Master Shuman tells her that if she really wants to be his student, he will need to put a seal on her that will prevent her from hurting him now and in the future. He says that if she tries to hurt him, the seal will make her feel a lot of pain. He then tells her that if she doesn't want to be his pupil, it's no problem, he'll even give her food and a large fortune so that she can start life again as she wishes. Linda Yang then says that she won't go back on her word and that she very much wants to be her master's student. Zuman then puts his hand on Linda Yang's head and begins to place the seal that will prevent her from hurting him. After a few minutes, the seal is complete. Now with the seal, Zuman orders Linda Yang to try to hurt him. Without understanding anything, she tries to strike her master, but feels enormous pain. Her master tells her that this is an effect of the seal and that if she tries to hurt him in the future, the pain will be even greater. Linda Yang then says that she will never betray her beloved master. After that, they arrive at Prince Zuman's palace. After arriving, the prince orders them to choose a room for his beloved Luna, and for some maids to get her some clothes and give her a bath. He then tells them that he has business to attend to in the city and that he will be back at the palace soon. After that, one of the prince's servants takes Linda Yang to her new room. After seeing the room, Linda Yang says that she doesn't deserve to have a room as beautiful and big as that. Then she tries to run away. Then she turns very red and asks if there isn't a simpler room that would suit her better. The prince's servant then tells her that Linda Yang is a beloved student of the prince and that, being so loved, she deserves the best. After that, the waiter tells them to go to two maids to give Linda Yang a princess bath. As they go, Linda Yang is very happy and says that her master is very kind to her. After this, Master Zuman appears in the city in search of a very powerful object. He says that, as he has gone back in time, the object has not yet been bought by anyone. After that, a young man is shown trying to buy a jade object. He offers 20 spirit rocks for the object, but the seller says he won't sell it for less than 50 spirit rocks. The young man then says that the most he can pay is 30 spirit rocks. But the seller says that's still too little. In the background, someone offers 100 spirit rocks for the object. When the young man and the vendor turn around, they realize that the person who offered the 100 rocks was Prince Zuman. The prince asks if 100 spirit rocks is still too little, and the seller tries to bargain, but decides to sell the object to the prince. This makes the young man very angry. Prince Shuman then tells him that the young man is the great hero, that in the original timeline where he was killed, the young man, after getting the jade object, became very strong and went on a journey where he became even more powerful. After that, Shuman turns around and says that he hopes he never sees the hero again. Now lying on the ground, the young man gets up very angry and says that the power contained in that object was almost at the level of a demigod. He also says that one day he will take revenge on the prince. After that, he sees a giant power coming from a forest and thinks that it must be the power of a spirit beast. He then travels to the forest to find out if that power is from a spirit beast or a new object that could be his. Prince Shuman then destroys the jade pendant he bought, and out of the pendant comes a scroll and a golden disc. Shuman says that these are the book and the key to the secret realm of the cloud spirit. He says that by accessing the cloud realm, even someone as weak as Yang can reach the level of a goddess. He says that the scroll and the disc are objects created by the first magician at the level of the gods who lived in that world. Zuman then says that this time he will change his cruel fate. After this, Zuman returns to his palace and the prince's servant tells him that lunch is ready and that his beloved pupil is in the best room in the palace. The servant also asks if the prince would like him to go and call the beautiful Yang for lunch. Prince Zuman then says that he will fetch his pupil himself. After that, in Pretty Yang's room, the maids are shown giving Pretty Yang a wonderful bath. During the bath, Lin Dayang apologizes for being so much trouble, but the maids say it's an honor to bathe the prince's beloved pupil. So she accepts the bath and is very happy. After the bath, she says that she has never had such a good bath in her life. Then she hears her master's voice at the bedroom door and wonders where her clothes are. Prince Zumong then enters his beloved pupil's room, but doesn't see her anywhere. Lin Dayang dives underwater and embarrassedly asks what her master wants. Prince Shumyun then realizes that he has done something wrong. He then apologizes to his beloved Luna and leaves the room. Lin Dayang turns very red and thanks her beloved master. She then appears in a very cute dress and apologizes to her master for taking so long to get ready. Master Shuman then says that she looks very beautiful in that dress, and Lin Dayang turns very red and thanks her beloved master for the compliment. Master Shuman then calls her to lunch and says that after lunch he has something he wants to give her. Afterwards, they arrive at the lunch table and Lin Dayang is drooling at the sight of so much food. Prince Shuman then tells her that it was all made for her and that she can eat as much as she wants. Lin Dayang then starts eating the food. She eats so much that the prince and all the servants are very surprised. Afterwards, Lin Dayang turns red and apologizes to her master. Afraid that he won't like her like that, she tells him that she doesn't really eat much. However, her master Shuman says that he doesn't mind her eating a lot and orders her to eat 3 meals a day now, so that his beloved pupil is always fed. After that, Master Shuman says that now that his pupil is fed, they will go to the temple. Arriving at the temple, Master Shuman gives his pupil a scroll and tells her to try practicing something to learn a powerful technique. After this, the salesman who sold the jade pendant is very angry to discover that the pendant he sold to the prince had very powerful objects inside. Then a wise old man appears and asks the vendor if he has ever seen the rare pendant in the picture. The seller then becomes even more angry.